Now, the International Women's Day is marked on the 8th of March every year to deliberately create awareness about the significant roles women play all over the world and how to implement strategies to achieve gender inclusion in all sectors, governance and even in the private sector. Women have gathered at the National Assembly calling for better representation in the parliament and in Nigeria as a whole. They are calling for a world free of bias, stereotypes and discrimination, a world that is diverse, equitable and inclusive, a world where difference is valued and celebrated. The women are asking lawmakers to reconsider the gender bills that were rejected by the parliament last week or risk being voted out come 2023.
No women! We therefore demand that our rights be recognized, our rights to live as full citizens, our rights to take leadership positions, our rights not to die in childbirth, our rights not to live in dire poverty, our rights not to suffer from gender-based violence. We want our leaders who are in these buildings, who we voted for, people like us campaigned in the sun and in the rain to vote them in. We demand that they recognize that Nigerian women matter. Anything less than that is totally unacceptable.
Today we should all stay united and mobilized as women. It doesn't matter what political party you belong to. Now if we don't do this, women we're going to lose out totally. We're not asking for, they say power is not served a la carte. We know. We've contested election, it's not easy. But women are not asking for the easy way out, they're asking for equity.
We don't want to be marginalized again. We have all that it takes to occupy any position in the country. All we are asking for is give us our 35% affirmative action. Nothing less than that.
Well, for more on this, I'm now being joined by Dr. Mariam Shettima, who is the convener of the Citizens Unite and Ladi Bala, who is the national president of the Nigeria Association of Women Journalists. And I want to welcome you to the show. So good to have all of you. It's been a very tough day, at the National Assembly. Let me start with you. You are just coming straight from there. We've seen these agitations since last week after the rejection of some of these bills, pro-women bills by the National Assembly. We are hearing that there may be a possibility of these bills being reconsidered, but tell us about the pressure you're mounting on the federal lawmakers at the National Assembly complex.
Thank you very much, Arise TV, for having me on this discussion, or for having us to discuss this very important discussion issue that borders on women. Yeah, like you rightly mentioned, we've been at the National Assembly since last week, since the unfortunate incident happened in Nigeria. It came to us as a rude shock, I must confess, because Nigerian women were actually looking forward to a robust celebration this day, owing to the hope that we were given. I mean, you know, a lot of lobbying went into this. And I remember a few days to the day this bill were thrown out, the wife of the president was at the National Assembly. I was part of the team that went with her. And equally, the wife of the vice president was there. And apart from other engagements with these lawmakers, and they've given us ray of hope. And at a point, we started celebrating. And we were not expecting what really happened at the National Assembly. So it took us unawares, and it was a rude shock, because, I mean, this is the giant of Africa. And globally, we are talking about inclusive democracy. That is what it should be. And we felt that Nigeria should take the lead, you know, in this global conversation. And because Nigeria is a signatory to many treaties and protocols that borders on gender inclusiveness in the affairs of governance. And to our greatest dismay and disappointment and shame, you know, that people that we ordinarily, you know, canvassed for support for and voted into office, and expecting them to represent our interests, because they are there as our representative, having understood the issue at this point in the history of Nigeria, it is very appalling that any member of the National Assembly will even imagine to turn down issue that borders on women.
Well, they actually exercised their voting rights.
Yes, they did.
Parliamentarians.
But I feel that they did not take the interests of the generality of the more than 50% of the population of this country into consideration.
Okay.
And I want to, the good news is that the pressure that we've mounted, or we've been mounting since last week to today, is gradually yielding result. And I must give it to the leadership of the House of Representatives. Before we left, before I came here, the honorable member, the whip, the speaker assigned Honorable Nkiru, who came out, and addressed us. And already they have resent some of these, at least on 3 bills. But we are not satisfied. When she came and said, this is how far, at least 3 bills will now be considered. But we now said, it's either 5 or 5 over 5 or nothing else.
Oh, okay, let's hear Dr. Shettima. Let's talk about how some of this gender inclusiveness can help promote, women equality and all of that. I mean, today is the International Women's Day. What exactly are you focusing?
Okay, thank you for having me, and I'm incredibly delighted to be on board on such a major discussion. And we all know that women are the bedrock of any serious society. So being put or relegated in the backseat doesn't make any society advanced in any way. So we always claim we are progressives. We care about women and all of that, but sadly what has happened is a reflection of what the society really takes women to be. And it's disappointing to realize that we are not anywhere near where we had wanted to be, but we are not giving up. Women are very resilient, and we believe eventually it will all come to pass. What happened today is quite encouraging. I'm quite delighted. It just happened before I came here, like you rightly said. The House of Assembly have sort of rescinded their decisions on some of the bills, but like she said, it's all or none. We are not having it this time around. We want all of it. We are Oliver Twists.
Okay, very interesting. Yeah. Now let's talk about how women in Nigeria are being treated in terms of politics, governance, economy, and all of that. What will you say is the state of Nigerian women at the moment, especially when it comes to electing leaders and all of that?
Wow. The state of Nigerian women when it comes to involvement or being engaged in governance and other sphere of development is quite low. It's quite low compared to the opportunities that men have. That of women is nothing close to what they have. And the women are actually inadequately marginalized. Wow. Women are nowhere close, to bridging the gap. And that is why we're concerned that these bills were thrown out, because it is the only way that the underrepresentation of women will be reduced drastically. Because when you create special seats, we are saying that, okay, maintain the seats that men have always maintained, but now allow room for some seats so as to balance the equation at the floor of the National Assembly and at the State Assembly. And we are talking about 35% appointees.
Yeah, but the thing is that you cannot have those seats just given to you like that, because some of the men are complaining that how will you be able to just get seats? Some of you are asking that you should have special seats that are located to you.
Yes.
Does it mean that it will come from particular region, or how exactly do you want to go about this? Because the men are really concerned. Some of them are feeling that you just want to come and take their positions, and that's why they didn't vote for it.
What is taking position? What position are we talking about? We are talking about providing governance, good governance for Nigeria and for Nigerians. The gap, like I said, is too wide. How do you bridge this gap? Because when the political process is very tedious and highly capital intensive. The average Nigerian woman does not have the capacity to engage in the political process and arrive at that destination. And because of the marginalization, we are saying to bridge that gap. But I think we are all stakeholders in the project of Nigeria. So why should you feel otherwise? Because we are saying, okay, that is the equity we are talking about.
Yeah, but shouldn't women also compete for their
women
seats?
Are competing, but we are not saying that
to
bridge this gap, to bring it close to at least an acceptable position or percentage, we are now saying, okay, just create special seats. This special seat, we are expecting that only women will vie for such seats at their respective geopolitical zone to come in and occupy that seat. The normal seats are always there. Women will still compete for that. So that's the equity we are talking about. It's just to balance the equation, nothing more.
And you think that the men are not listening quickly?
Even if they are not interested in that. We are talking, what about the 35% affirmative action on appointive positions? What about that?
That's a part of the national gender policy.
Yes.
But we've seen several governments trying to run away from those issues because they don't. Well, that's why it comes to political engagement. And that's why some people are saying that when the First Lady and other governors' wives should have been engaging the lawmakers, they were busy in Dubai. And those criticisms came, and although the office of the First Lady has replied alongside the governor's wives.
That is pure blackmail.
A lot of people, some of these lawmakers think that you didn't engage them until after the bills had been passed.
It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. I mean, lobbying have been going on before now. It's not true. It's just a blackmail. The wife of the, I mean, a lot of engagements went into this issue. But you know, they just want to shy away from the truth. Okay. What are they afraid of? What are we really afraid of? Nigerian women are citizens of this country. You know, the whole thing makes it look as if we are no longer Nigerians, as if we are foreigners.
Well, we must thank you at this point, Ladi Bala, the National President of the Nigeria Association of Women Journalists, for joining us on the show.